F1 drivers fight back against the FIA, Ferrari responds to accusations of cheating, and F1 boss reveals change in future races. Do consider subscribing. Now let's get into the latest F1 news. Ferrari and IBM have officially announced an exciting multi-year partnership set to commence in 2025, with the primary goal of significantly enhancing the experience for fans of Scuderia Ferrari, the iconic racing team in Formula One. As part of this collaboration, IBM will become Ferrari's premium partner in IT consulting, bringing their wealth of experience in technology to support the brand's objectives. While specific details regarding the offerings and services IBM will provide are still under wraps, the overarching focus of the partnership is to deeply engage the tifosi, the passionate and dedicated fans of Ferrari. In a joint statement, both companies articulated the foundation of their collaboration. This partnership brings together two benchmark companies that share an unwavering passion for challenges, innovation, excellence, and the relentless pursuit of high performance. By leveraging Scuderia Ferrari's extensive and illustrious experience in the world of Formula One alongside IBM's cutting-edge technological capabilities, we aim to redefine the entire digital landscape related to fan experience and engagement, both on the racetrack and beyond. A central tenet of this partnership is to elevate fan engagement to unprecedented levels through the incorporation of innovative technologies, particularly as Ferrari seeks to forge deeper connections with a younger and more digitally savvy audience. Jonathan Adashek, IBM's Senior Vice President of Marketing and Communications, elaborated on the technological strategies that will underpin this initiative. In the high-stakes arena of Formula One, where every second counts both on and off the track, the ability for Scuderia Ferrari to swiftly deliver world-class insights derived from their vast reservoir of data is paramount. By merging our technology with the passionate fan base, rich historical significance, and advanced data analytics solutions, we can uniquely position Scuderia Ferrari to enhance global engagement and modernize its digital operations in a scalable manner. This new partnership aligns with Ferrari's recent collaborations, including an agreement with HP that was announced in May, and the forthcoming addition of UniCredit, a prominent Italian banking firm, as a new partner for the 2025 season, succeeding their current partnership with Santander. Expressing enthusiasm over the collaboration, Lorenzo Giorgetti, Ferrari's chief racing revenue officer, stated, "We are incredibly proud to launch this partnership with IBM, one of the most prestigious technology and consulting companies in the world. The synergies created through this collaboration will empower us to provide Scuderia Ferrari fans with unprecedented experiences and develop activations that generate significant value for both brands." An unspecified number of European Formula One Grand Prix face the prospect of hosting races on a rotational basis sooner rather than later, according to series CEO Stefano Domenicali. With a record-breaking 24 rounds already crammed onto the F1 calendar, the scope for adding new venues is now arguably smaller than ever. Domenicali has previously suggested rotating European races would be an option, but now he has said such a move is on the cards. We have some news to share very soon with regard to the possibility in the mid-term to have some rotational European Grand Prix and some other new options coming later, Domenicali said on a Liberty Media investors call. This is something that of course we will clarify in the due course. It is true that we have a large demand of new possible venues that wants to come in, and our choice will always be balanced between the right economical benefits that we can have as a system and also to leverage in the growth on the market, that we can see potential that will be beneficial for us to grow even further our business. Speaking at a Globant event during the United States Grand Prix, Domenicali named Argentina as a venue where he would like to see F1 return. Including the Azerbaijan GP, there are currently 10 races in Europe, with Italy hosting 2, Imola and Monza, and Madrid joining the calendar for 2026, while Barcelona's contract expires at the end of that year. Recent reports claimed the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya would begin to share a spot on the calendar with the Dutch GP in Zandvoort, although the organizers of the race in the Netherlands distanced themselves from the idea. One potential issue with Domenicali's plan is the contracts already held by a lot of European circuits, while the financial future of some of those tracks are reliant on staging a round of the F1 season on an annual basis. Silverstone, the Hungaroring, and the Red Bull Ring have deals that run into the 2030s, for example, although Spa-Francorchamps, Monza, Zandvoort, and Imola are all up after next year. Monaco 2 is currently only signed on for 2025, but there is very little chance of one of F1's most iconic races having to share its slot. Conversely, with F1 currently riding high in terms of interest and revenue, plenty of venues are keen to get a slice of the action by getting their own race added to the calendar. A second race in Saudi Arabia, at the Qiddiya circuit currently under construction. A return to Africa with Rwanda mooted as a potential venue, and the aforementioned potential Argentine GP comeback are just some of the locations that could be eyeing a spot if and when the European season is truncated. The current Concord agreement in place until the end of 2025 allows for 25 races a year in the F1 season, but Domenicali is happy with 24 for the time being. We believe that the balance we have in terms of numbers is the right one, so 24 is the balanced number that we feel is right, he added. I do believe that all the propositions that are coming on our table is just giving us the possibility to make even better choices for our future. So as always, we need to be balanced, knowing that we cannot follow only the pure direct financial proposition, because that is different from region to region, but it's up to us to propose to our stakeholders the right choice. I think that we are in a good momentum to make sure that the strategy for the future is even stronger, and that's why we are so confident about the fact that this will help to enhance our platform on the sport, on social and business perspective. The Grand Prix Drivers Association has taken an important step by releasing an open letter aimed at expressing their concerns about the current stance of the FIA regarding swearing. This comes in light of recent punishments handed down to two prominent drivers, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, for their use of inappropriate language during press conferences. Max Verstappen faced a consequence that required him to complete some work of public interest after using a swear word during a press conference at the Singapore Grand Prix. Similarly, Charles Leclerc, who drives for the Ferrari team, received a $10,000 fine, half of which is suspended, for his own use of a swear word at a press conference in Interlagos over the past weekend. The FIA, under the leadership of President Mohammed bin Sulayem, has broadened its authority to penalize drivers for what is classified as misconduct. This move appears to be part of an initiative to strengthen the regulations surrounding inappropriate language used in formal situations.
President bin Sulayem previously sparked discussions and some controversy when he explained in an interview that the FIA's actions were necessary to make a distinction between motorsport, which is the nature of their sport, and other forms of expression, such as rap music.
This comment drew a response from the renowned driver Lewis Hamilton, who pointed out that such statements were stereotypical and could be interpreted to have a racial element involved. In light of these developments, the GPDA, which acts as the trade union for all Formula One drivers, has felt compelled to articulate their views and address how they perceive they are being treated in this situation. They have clearly voiced their dissatisfaction regarding the fines imposed for swearing and have also referenced the earlier restrictions placed on the jewelry that drivers are allowed to wear while they are in their vehicles. The letter, which is attributed to both the directors and chairman of the GPDA, collectively representing the Grand Prix drivers, stated that in every sport, athletes and competitors are obligated to adhere to the decisions made by officials, regardless of whether they agree with those decisions. This is essential to the nature of sports, and the drivers acknowledge this responsibility. The letter goes on to discuss the matter of swearing, distinguishing between swearing that is aimed at offending others and more casual swearing that might be used in everyday language to describe something like bad weather or even to express frustration with an F1 car or a challenging driving situation. The GPDA encourages the FIA president to reflect on his own tone and language when communicating with the drivers, whether in public settings or in private discussions. Furthermore, the letter emphasizes that the drivers are adults who are capable of making their own decisions. They should not need to be guided by the media regarding minor issues, such as what types of jewelry or articles of clothing they can or cannot wear. In addition, the GPDA reiterated its standpoint on the issue of financial penalties for drivers. They have raised this concern on numerous occasions, firmly believing that monetary fines are not the right approach for the sport of Formula One. For the last 3 years, the organization has urged President bin Sulayem to disclose the details and rationale behind the allocation of fines, specifically how the funds are being utilized. They feel strongly that financial transparency is needed, particularly in terms of how these fines contribute to the overall image of the sport. The GPDA once again calls for the FIA president to maintain an open and transparent dialogue with them. The letter concludes by stating that all parties involved in the sport, including the FIA, Formula One, the teams, and the GPDA, should collaboratively decide how, if at all, financial resources are used for the benefit of the sport as a whole. Lance Stroll attributed his car's brake failure to the reason he went off the track during the formation lap in Brazil. However, it was his decision to venture into the gravel that sparked Jarno Opmeer's comment that Stroll is not someone you'd expect to see racing in Formula One. Despite spending 8 years as a driver in Formula One, the Canadian racer has been unable to shake off the label of being a pay driver, a title that follows him particularly because he competes for a team owned by his father. While this label may not always fairly reflect his skills as evidenced by his achievements, which include 3 podium finishes and a pole position, Stroll's actions during the Brazilian Grand Prix did raise some eyebrows. His off-track excursion during the formation lap was certainly unexpected for someone of his experience. Stroll pointed to a problem with the brakes of his newly repaired AMR24, noting that he was one of 5 drivers who had crashed during the qualifying session earlier that morning. His teammate Fernando Alonso was also involved in that incident. Explaining the situation, Stroll said, "As soon as I touched the brake, I just had a huge rear lock and then I was a passenger from there." He went on to express his surprise, saying, "I've never felt that in the car, so maybe there was a brake failure problem and we have to look into it." He emphasized the unfortunate reality of racing, stating, "For sure in a race like this, anything's possible, so to be out on lap 1 really sucks, but we have to look into what happened." However, the most pressing issue did not stop at his explanation about the brakes. After his car came to a stop on a section of asphalt runoff located between 2 gravel traps, Stroll made the questionable decision to attempt to turn around and re-enter the track by going through one of the wet gravel traps. Instead of opting for the asphalt access road that circled the gravel, he chose the more challenging and muddy route. This decision ultimately led him to become stuck and beached in the gravel, forcing him to retire from the race altogether. Jarno Opmeer, who previously raced against Stroll in the CIK FIA European Championship back in 2013, commented on Stroll's inconsistency, referring to him as a pancake at times. He remarked, "I've karted against him. He wasn't a bad driver, but not a superstar. Not someone you'd expect in Formula One." Opmeer further pointed out Stroll's sporadic successes, saying, "He's always had those moments where he's incredibly good for 2 or 3 races a year. The rest of the time he's just a pancake, really." However, Jarno Opmeer was not alone in expressing concern over Stroll's performance that day. Former Formula One driver and Sky Deutschland analyst Timo Glock also took issue with what he saw as Stroll's lackluster attitude when dealing with the media and suggested that there are many other drivers out there who might be more deserving of a seat in Formula One. Glock opened his remarks by saying, "There were a few things today." He highlighted Stroll's mishap while driving to the grid, his parking in an inconvenient place, and his crashing during qualifying earlier in the day. Moreover, Glock mentioned Stroll's apparent disinterest during interviews. The apathy in the interviews, there are also 1 or 2 videos from the press conference, you can only shake your head. He concluded his thoughts by saying, "I have to say, it really leaves you speechless. There are many, many talented people out there who would have deserved that place more." Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull Racing, has made it clear that he is not planning to make a late move in order to bring Carlos Sainz to their team for the upcoming season. This announcement comes amidst ongoing discussions and speculations surrounding the future of Sergio Perez, who currently drives for Red Bull. Recently, Sainz has signed an extended multi-year contract with Williams, set to start in 2025. This contract has fueled speculation about his future, especially after Horner was seen leaving the Williams motorhome at the Interlagos Grand Prix. Rumors began circulating that Horner might have been discussing a possible release for Franco Colapinto, a young driver, or even negotiating Sainz's availability for the next season. According to sources from PlanetF1.com, the conversations that took place in Brazil were primarily focused on the potential for Colapinto to join Red Bull next season. Colapinto has been performing impressively since he took over Logan Sargent's seat following the summer break. Meanwhile, James Vowles, the team principal at Williams, humorously suggested that Horner's visit was just an excuse to enjoy some coffee that their new sponsor provides. However, the situation becomes somewhat complicated because Sainz is set to join Williams next season, and Alex Albon is already under contract with them. Therefore, without a race seat available, this leaves Colapinto in a challenging position for the 2025 season. Horner has previously praised Colapinto's skills at recent races, but he also confirmed that Carlos Sainz, who once drove for Toro Rosso, is not being considered for a position at Red Bull in 2025 due to his current commitment to Williams. In an interview with TalkSport, when asked if he was looking into Sainz as a potential driver, Horner stated, there's always plenty of speculation in the Formula One paddock." He continued to clarify the situation regarding Sainz, saying, "Carlos Sainz is going to be a Williams driver next year. He's a great driver, had a big win in Mexico recently, and I think he'll be very good for that team." When pressed further about the possibility of Sainz being considered for Red Bull, despite his future at Williams, Horner reiterated, "No, Carlos is committed to Williams, and he wouldn't form part of our plans for next year." Sainz will conclude his time with Ferrari at the end of the current season, where he has achieved 4 significant race victories. After engaging in discussions with nearly all the teams on the grid, he ultimately decided that Williams was the right fit for him. Vowles noted that his initial conversations with Sainz and his representatives took place even before it was public knowledge that Lewis Hamilton would be leaving for Ferrari. In an interview with Sky F1, Sainz expressed his appreciation for Williams, stating, "Williams is the one that has invested in me, that has backed me up from the beginning, the ones that came to me a full year ago, and that actually makes me super excited." He further emphasized his commitment to the team, saying, "I want to give to these guys what they've given to me, give back to them this trust and this belief in me, and it actually gives me good strength, and I cannot wait to go there and together with them, build something good." As Formula One's newest controversy rumbles on, Red Bull suspecting McLaren of injecting water into their tires, Fred Vasseur is baffled as to why any team would do something like that, but also revealed every team is trying to remove humidity from everywhere. According to Auto Motor and Sport, Red Bull suspect McLaren are injecting small amounts of water into the tires via the valves to cool the tires. By keeping the tires cooler, the team prolongs their performance window. However, it's not just McLaren, with the report claiming several teams have been benefiting from this practice, with Ferrari one of those mentioned. Not only is the Scuderia's team boss Vasseur baffled by the accusation, he's determined to stay out of the politics scrum that Red Bull and McLaren have engaged in this season. "I don't know where," Vasseur told the media in Brazil when asked where the accusation stemmed from. "I won't go into this field because that it is one of the assets of the team this year to stay away from all the polemics. I don't understand the theory because I think we are all trying to remove humidity from everywhere, not to add something into the tires." With the FIA said to be keeping a closer eye on the tires, Red Bull recorded their first Grand Prix win in 11 races, with Max Verstappen dominating a wet Brazilian GP as he raced from 17th on the grid to the victory. He claimed that by 19.4s over Alpine's Esteban Ocon. Red Bull team boss Christian Horner was asked in his post-race media debrief if it was coincidence or linked to the FIA's tire probe. "No comment," was his reply. But despite Red Bull's allegations, Formula One's tire supplier Pirelli say they've seen no evidence of any teams tampering with the tires. "I cannot see anything strange from the data we have," Pirelli's motorsport boss Mario Isola said. "I don't have any evidence. It's up to the FIA now to decide what to do and to tell us if we can support, because at the end of the day, the only thing we can do is to support them. If there is anything we can do to check or to give them advice on a possible situation, we are here to support. I'm not aware of any issue, but I heard the story, and I've also tried to understand why it should be done, which now I have an idea. But for the rest, it's all in the hands of the FIA. The tire saga is just the latest in the Red Bull v McLaren war, with as they have accused each other of running flexible front wings, mini DRS rear wings, and even a ride height bib trick. Red Bull lead the Drivers' Championship with Max Verstappen 62 points up on Lando Norris, while McLaren are ahead in the Constructors' standings, 36 points on Ferrari, with Red Bull a further 13 off the pace. That's it for this video. I'll see you around.